Canadian politicians are spoiling for a fight with Donald Trump, gambling with millions of Canadians struggling after a decade of Justin Trudeau. Last week, Canadian Liberals chose a new Prime Minister. Davos approved Mark Carney, a man best known as one of the most inflationist central bankers in two recessions, '08 and COVID. Carney immediately went after Trump, declaring, quote, "In trade as in hockey, Canada will win." Meanwhile, Ontario leader Doug Ford slapped export tariffs on electricity to Michigan to spite Trump, promising, quote, "Canada will not back down, we will be relentless." Trump responded, threatening 50% tariffs on steel and aluminum, which would wipe out Ontario's dominant car industry, at which point Doug backed down. So much for relentless. Now, fighting words may be good politics for Canadian politicians rallying round the maple leaf to protect Canada's own tariffs and barriers against American imports. But going to war with Trump is gambling with millions of Canadians. Partly because trade with the U.S. makes up 1/5 of the Canadian economy, but just 1% of the U.S. economy, meaning Canada cannot win a trade war. It needs the U.S. 20 times more than we need them, not even counting free military. But mostly because Canada's economy is half crippled after a lost decade under Trudeau. So Trudeau gave Canadians West Virginia wages and San Francisco home prices. Wages in Canada are flat since 2016. Household debt is the highest in the G7. Economic growth since 2019, so pre-COVID, is the lowest out of 50 developed countries. In Vancouver or Toronto, it takes 70% of middle-class income to buy a house. According to Stats Canada, 40% of middle-class Canadians are living hand-to-mouth, while half of Canadians cannot afford a $200 emergency. That's $200 Canadian. And heaven help you if you try to start a business in Canada, you are volunteering for the slaughter. Recent Ipsos poll found 7 in 10 Canadians think, quote, "Canada is broken." An Angus poll found 42% of Canadians are considering leaving the country. So onto this smoldering heap comes the Trump tariffs and Canada's gambling politicians. So what's next? Brought to you by Unchained.com. Trump says tariffs in Canada and Mexico could jump on April 2nd, starting with the products Trump has so far exempted because they're covered by USMCA, Trump's NAFTA replacement. That exempted about 3/4 of trade, meaning Canada has not begun to feel the squeeze. Everything else is coming on April 2nd. The biggest is cars. There's over 120,000 auto workers in Canada and almost 1 million in Mexico. So what should Canada do? Given 4 million Canadian families are at stake, Canada's leaders should put pride aside and make Trump happy on the border, on fentanyl, perhaps even getting rid of Canada's extortionate trade barriers that block everything from American milk to banks. In other words, give Trump the easy stuff and the stuff that would actually help Canadian consumers in order to protect the existential stuff. Instead, Carney and Ford are pouring gasoline. Now, Canada has an upcoming election where the voters finally get a say, but until then, and maybe after then, given the Conservative keeps putting his foot in it, hapless Canadians remain at the mercy of a government that seems eager to gamble all in on Trump backing down. Given Trump's personality, and given how much leverage he has with a 20-1 trade difference, that is a very risky bet. Okay, we'll be watching. See you next time.